covering the latest in entertainment and beyond since 2011. You're listening to the RCWR Show. And now your host, as featured on Wrestling Inc. and TNA Insider, Lee Sanders.
All right, we're very ecstatic to talk with our guest at this time. You all may remember him best for his time in the WWE with Shad Gaspard as Cryme Tyme. He's been making waves with his new tell-all book chronicling his time in the crazy sport of professional wrestling while in the WWE. Great read, as I highly recommend you pick it up. It's called Damn! Why Did I Write This Book? Love saying that. Boys and girls, it's the one and only JTG. Welcome. How are you, man?
Yo, everything is great. It's your boy JTG. And unlike LeBron, I stays with the Heat. Cheer.
I was about to say Heat with a capital H. How's that working out for you?
Oh, yeah. After this book, there's definitely been more. I turned the heat up, but I'm going to stay in the kitchen,
Right. Now, you're in California. I'm curious, how is it down there as a sports fan with the Los Angeles Clippers possibly winning Game 7 this Sunday and advancing to the Western Conference Finals? Not to mention, you have Golden State Warriors awaiting the winner of that Game 7. Cray down there?
It's good. To be honest with you, I don't follow sports. I'm sorry. I don't.
What?
It's too much. It's additional stress on my life, and I have too much going on. When I see my friends. I grew up and I watch my friends when their teams don't win. They all stressed out. They getting mad. I'm like, it's just a game. You're not even on the court. Why are you getting pissed off?
I feel you. I've actually seen friendships end because of a game.
Yeah, I stop with it. If it's stress, I don't want no parts of it. Like I was playing video games with my friends, Call of Duty, and they throwing controllers around because they're getting shot. It's like, it's not fair. I'm like, dude, it's a video game. So I stopped playing video games after that.
I've actually even seen friendships end over a game of Madden, the video game. Yeah, it's that serious.
Because of stress, I don't want nothing to do if there's no financial gain.
Right. Well, I respect that. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to do this. I gotta say, as we were talking off air briefly, I've been enjoying your book. I'm like 15 pages away from finishing it. Could have finished it sooner, but I'm like going in a lot of directions this week. But the thing I love most about your book, it's just very honest, upbeat, and fresh as far as the approach goes in your narrative, talking about your experience in dealing with World Wrestling Entertainment in particular. When did the idea of making this book come about? Walk our listeners through the journey surrounding it.
Well, I used to tell stories a lot. That's one thing about JTG. I love to tell stories, but to actually put it on paper, I kept getting the same reaction from friends and family. Oh, you need to put this on paper. You need to put this on paper. I give them the same reaction every time someone tells me the same thing. Oh, I'm not an author. I don't know anything about putting a book together. And you think about all these obstacles about getting a publisher and, it's going to cost. It's like, I didn't want to be burdened with all that. And then I did some research and I discovered, there's the new phenomenon right now is ebooks. People read it on their phone and everybody's on their phone every day anyway. When you go out to the club, everybody's on their Instagram. So, so ebooks right now is pretty big. So I decided to write an ebook and it's doing great. I'm getting a great response, loving the feedback. They want part 2. I got to give the fans what they want. They want an audio book. So I'm got to get on that too. So I want to, since I can't entertain the fans in the ring, I'm going to do it on the phone with the ebooks.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that later, but I saw a tweet you put out. You said, if I can get 100 tweets, I'll work on the audio book version of this. I see, like, last I checked, you were up to about maybe 120, maybe a little bit more. What is it now?
The last time I think is I believe is 120, around 121, something like that.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, so for those that love the audio books and they get the mad bonus because they get to hear your voice, when can they expect to have that in their grasp?
As soon as I get in the studio, I'm talking to somebody to get in the studio right now, and they're gonna edit it and master it, and it's gonna be on Amazon and everywhere that they have audiobooks available.
Awesome. That is awesome. Now, the thing I loved about your book, you did a really good job in not mentioning names, although you left readers with strong ideas on who you possibly were talking about, especially like as far as negative encounters go. Have any of those people you mentioned in a negative light in this book reached out to you? Any cease and desist from lawyers?
Oh, no, probably not yet, but no. Like when I wrote the book, I knew I was going to get heat. I have no problem getting heat. I've experienced with that, but I do not want any legal heat. So just to stay on the good side of things, I left names out, but I left a lot of hints. Diehard wrestling fans are going to have fun decoding who the wrestlers are.
Right. And so when did you begin working on this book again? I'm sorry.
I will say like in the beginning of the year. Yeah, you know what? I take that back. I'll say around December.
That's very good. And you're already working on a part 2?
Yeah, I was gonna put a chapter in the extra chapter in the Amazon version, and I sent it to my editor because I was gonna put it in the PDF real quick, and he read it and he said this is too good. He's like he read it twice. He said he loved it. He said we can't give this away for free. Just put this away. Just put this to the side for part 2. So I was like, damn. Did I write this chapter?
Wow. Well, we don't want to put too much emphasis and pressure on part 2, but it's nice to know for the many that will be reading this book that's out right now, part 2 is coming. Just enjoy this first book while it's out there and it's hot. Any chance though going into the future? I mean, heck, maybe it can happen with this first book. Are you entertaining the idea of doing some type of a small promotional tour?
I would love to, I don't have no experience with that. I'll talk to the publicist and we'll see if you could get a hard copy. A lot of people are contacting me about even getting they already have the ebook, but they want a hard copy and they want it autographed. So we'll see. There's already a demand. Like this book is very entertaining and people want this. They're calling it a cult classic. I'm like, when I wrote the book, I wasn't thinking about along those terms, but but I was just doing it because I love telling stories and I had fun doing it, reminiscing and thinking about all the times that I had in WWE. They said, why didn't you write about the good times? Like, there was a lot of good times while working with the WWE and in the wrestling business, but that doesn't sell books, to be honest.
Yeah, it depends. There's an audience, but you kind of got a point there. I've had quite a few friends I've known over the years, and I've even had the luxury of helping them put video packages together to send to the WWE, and like never in their wildest dreams, in their minds at least, as far as landing a dream job with that company, would they ever think about, hey, is there any drama, any politics? I mean, we all deal with that in some shape or form with our job. You would think that through a company like the WWE, though, there's one vision, one goal, one purpose, which is entertaining the fans at all costs, making them happy, because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about, pleasing the consumer. You were very young when you signed with them, right? 20, 21?
I was 21 when I got signed. Yeah, I was very young. And if I wasn't taken under the wing by certain superstars, Elijah Burke, Armando Estrada, Shelton Benjamin and Charlie Haas, I don't know how far. My career could have ended real quick.
Wow.
I made a lot of rookie mistakes. I'll give you one story real quick. So how I avoided heat. So when I was up there, every wrestler, whether they don't want to admit it or not, there are marks at their fans deep down inside, but they just had the courage to go after their dream. So I was still a fan. I had a Bret Hart screensaver on my phone. I'm a big Bret Hart fan, as you can see if you read the book. And when I opened my phone one time in the locker room, my buddy Shelton Benjamin, he saw that. He was like, "Jay, what the hell you doing?" I'm like, what I do now? Like, what? He's like, "What the hell is that on your phone?" I was like, "It's a Bret Hart screensaver." He's like, "I understand you like Bret Hart, but you can't have that here while you're on the road. You can't be acting like a mark. You get heat for that." I was like, "Damn," but okay. And I changed it to like a Ferrari or something. It's like, you don't want to be caught being a mark. That's a derogatory term for a diehard fan.
What?
Yeah, it's like even when you see like, let's say when you're a wrestler and you see one of your favorite icons in the back, you don't want to be caught asking for an autograph, or it's not professional. You get in trouble for that.
Oh, come on. No fair. Fair.
You might do it on the low. I was able to get my I bought Bret Hart's autobiography book, and Shad and I drove up to that Raw after WrestleMania, and he signed it for me. But I did it very very discreet.
Well, that's good. That's good. I'm curious, what kept you going during all that time, like before your marriage and your daughter came into play? Because, I mean, you were dealing with constant straight up BS and heat with a capital H. And I'm just thinking back to me and my friends around, that age before your family and all that kicked in. And I couldn't help but just say, man, me and my friends, we would have been like, it ain't worth it. It ain't worth it. I want to go be happy and it ain't worth it. I'll see you. Bye, Felicia.
No, I was in love with wrestling. I was in love with the WWE. I had a great experience working there. Even with the bullshit, it's like, I love that place. I had fun. I was able to travel the world and perform in front of millions of people. And that's what I really wanted to do at the bottom of my heart. But of course, it's going to come along. There's going to be bullshit along with it. You just can't have the perfect. It's not going to be perfect. And they also would dangle the carrot in front of me. The carrot was being a top guy. It wasn't even about the money. It was just being able to getting that big exposure, being on Raw every single week, and being able to perform and be able to do your craft and share it with the world. That was a carrot for me, and I kept pushing for that, because when you're at the bottom or in the middle, you're not on TV every week. You're not able to express yourself like you really want to. The carrot was being that main event at WrestleMania, being that top guy, getting all those great storylines, but that didn't come.
Right. You talked about this a little bit. I'm not going to put it out there, but our listeners will be able to kind of figure out what we're talking about. But I want to follow up on it. Something that's been a hot topic amongst other WWE stars that at one point worked with the company. I've seen this many times in recent shoot interviews. It's a hot topic, and that's what's going on with the WWE network as far as the back end goes of being compensated. Have they figured that out yet?
I have no idea, because I have to ask it's the second time I've been asked it, and I have no idea. I got to talk to one of my buddies, because that's a good question. How do superstars get paid through pay-per-view, especially if it's already on the WWE network? I have no idea.
Yeah, because I'm looking at that and I'm saying to myself, if it hasn't been resolved by now, it needs to be resolved soon. I don't know if you've still been keeping up with the WWE product, but now, in about 2 weeks, they're getting ready to do an exclusive event for the network with Elimination Chamber, and apparently this is going to be the first event that is only going to be exclusive to cable, exclusive to the network and not to cable satellite providers. And I was talking about this earlier in the week, my concerns on this, because on the one hand, it's coming off like WWE wants to do more and more exclusives for network subscribers, which is fine. But at the same time, it's kind of like rocking the boat a little bit with the cable and satellite providers, as the argument will always be, well, why pay this when I can pay that? And we got UFC, TNA, New Japan, you got WWN Live. All of these companies are going in the business with themselves, for themselves actually, with the network apps. You even got HBO and Showtime that's getting on board. Question to you, can wrestling still be a hit for cable or satellite providers, or do you think we're getting to that point where it will cease to exist?
Man, to be honest, I think they're trying new things. I think they're trying to not deal with the cable companies, and I think that's a negative effect on them. It might be negative. I don't know how that's going to work out. We'll see.
Uncharted territory going on right there. I briefly remember when Alicia Fox had approached you in an infamous segment saying she'd be willing to give you a new makeover, and then the very next week you debuted it, you defeated Yoshitatsu, but that not by your design now, but you went on a losing streak for the remainder of the year. Mm-hmm. And longtime listeners know I've been a big fan of Alicia Fox, but I couldn't help but look at that moment where you all crossed paths. To me, it seemed like something spontaneous and awesome was going on right there. Did you pick up the same vibe? And by chance, did you try to pitch anything else to creative for you all? Because y'all seem like you could have been dominating in the singles competition there as a tag team.
Oh yeah, definitely. I pitched to work with numerous females. I pitched to work with Layla. I pitched to work with Tamina at the time. I pitched to work with Alicia Fox, and I was throwing everything at the wall to see what will work, and even with different characters. And that's what I'm going to put in the next book. Every single idea that I pitched.
Perfect. Because that answer is actually a question from Ramon on Facebook, because he wanted to know, are there any off the wall characters, for example, Stardust storylines? So that answers your question, Ramon.
Next book, you're going to get every single character that I pitched, and I'll hear the response from the WWE, from the fans, wrestling fans.
That should be interesting. Okay. I want to read a short list to you. This will be fun for you and the listeners. And there's a point to this list, and it's really an honor to have you here, to go over this list, because I want to get your genuine thoughts on this. Tell me the first two things that come to your mind when you hear this list. Ready? All right. Kofi Kingston, Big E Langston, Xavier Woods, Booker T, Bobby Lashley, Ron Simmons, Godfather, Papa Shango, same guy, right? Yeah. Mark Henry, Darren Young, Titus O'Neil, Ezekiel Jackson, Junkyard Dog, D'Lo Brown, Shelton Benjamin, Ron Killings, Coco Beware, Devon Hughes, Tony Atlas, the late Big Daddy V, aka Viscera, yourself, and Shad Gaspard. What stands out to you when you hear these names?
All great, memorable characters in the WWE, in the wrestling business. All great, memorable characters. And amongst that list, there are some who should be and who could be WWE champion. Not world champion. Let me get that correct, because I don't want to be misquoted. Not world champion, WWE champion.
Brother, great minds think alike. I mean, I look at this list, I'm saying this, and I was talking to a good friend of ours of the show, Sean Oliver from Kayfabe Commentaries, and he had recently interviewed Alberto Del Rio, and I asked the question to Sean and Del Rio. I said, do you ever think we'll get to the point where we'll see 100% full-blown African-American male as the WWE champion? And Del Rio had an interesting answer for me. He said, the only thing that WWE cares about is one color, and that's the color of green. I got to pose the same question to you. Will we ever one day, in your honest opinion, see African-American champion? I don't want our listeners to scream Dwayne The Rock Johnson. Look. Dwayne The Rock Johnson, he is mixed. His father is Black Nova Scotian descent. His mother is of Samoan background. I will give him credit. He is a good-looking man, all right? But he does not count. What's your take, in your honest opinion? Will it happen or not?
I don't see that happening in the near future, no. To be real and be very candid and keep it honest, African American wrestlers, black wrestlers, they have to work twice as hard as the other white competitors. If you haven't noticed, like let's say someone like Daniel Bryan, if there was a black wrestler on that same level, same charisma, same ring style, there was no way he would be WWE champ. He just got to work 10 times harder. And if you disagree, let me know.
I'm silent, brother. Go ahead.
Yeah, we just got to work 10 times harder, and we still don't even get to that level. And it's not just African Americans. Like, I don't want to take anything away from The Rock. He's African American. He is black, but he's not identified as black. There's a big difference. You have to be identified as black. The Rock is more ambiguous. He's exotic. Mainstream Hollywood society doesn't identify him as black. Once you play Hercules and you have long flowing brunette hair, you're not identified as black.
Right. Right. I hear you on that. Do you think, good segue to one of our listener questions, this comes from Jay-Z and Not That Jigga Man via YouTube. Do you feel that as far as wrestlers go, and now we can just kind of, as far as all ethnicities go, do you feel that wrestlers aren't being pushed properly because of their skin color?
Yeah, I definitely think there's it affects it. Definitely. I do believe that there's a system in place in the WWE that only a black wrestler can only go so far. With the stereotypes. No, it's not as bad as it used to be in the early 90s or 80s with the stereotypes. They toned it down a little bit, but still, there are still stereotypes there in place.
Okay. I remember reading in another interview you did, I want to say it was maybe last year or a year and a half ago, you had talked about an idea you had pitched to Vince McMahon. I think it was about an imaginary friend, and you were so heartbroken when that had went to another WWE superstar. I'm not going to mention any names. Y'all should be able to figure out who we're talking about, but I'm curious, your vision of this imaginary friend, is that how you would have portrayed it? Because I can't help, because I've been a fan of your work when you were in the WWE, and when I read that, I couldn't help but kind of go, man, if he was given the green light to push it, something tells me he would have had some type of psycho type of vibe to it. It wouldn't have been something you'd have been chuckling at. Am I right or wrong?
No, my whole, as you can see in my book, I love comedy. I love delivering metaphors, punchlines. And that's what JTG, that's who JTG is. So this character would have been nothing but comedy for the WWE universe, and would have been a lot of fun for kids, even for grown-ups. The idea that I pitched it wasn't similar to the superstar that you're talking about, but it was definitely came from that. The Muppet was supposed to look exactly like me, look exactly like JTG. The Muppet had a grill, jewelry, earrings, a fitted hat. He looked exactly like me. And the WWE Universe and me were the only ones that will be able to acknowledge the Muppet. And it was just, if he was doing a backstage segment and I was doing, let's say I was in a conflict with, Kofi Kingston, he's in a backstage segment, that Muppet will be insulting Kofi Kingston. He will be giving me stuff to say and I'm repeating it, and Kofi Kingston doesn't know that Muppet is there. He will have to put on his acting hat and just not acknowledge the Muppet, and the WWE Universe and I will all be having a kick out of it. So it's something different and out of the box, and that's what Vince pitches. He wants out of the box ideas.
I would have loved to see how you would have handled that. I think that would have been a riot. I really think that would have been a riot. What other projects and appearances you got coming up?
I got a few shows coming up in Los Angeles. I'm doing Freak Show with Kazarni. I don't know if you remember him. He's got a league out here called Freak Show. I don't know if it's exactly the name is, but it's something along those lines. Freak Show. Just follow me on Twitter, and I'll. Everyone who's listening, follow me on Twitter, and I keep you updated on that. And also have a show out here with Ezekiel Jackson. He's putting on a show, and Cryme Tyme will be there, blowing the roof off. And I got a few more. I got a movie coming out in July called Bad Night. It's like a dark comedy. It reminds me of Superbad, but instead of the two high school guys, it's two high school chicks. And I'm looking forward for that to come out because my acting career might take off after that. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. I got a lot of lines. I do my own stunts. I get to shoot at these two girls. I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, that's what's up, man. That's what's up. You and Callie and everything. Help me out here. I mean, you got Joey Ryan, good buddy of ours, always willing to come on the show whenever he's free. I know he's got Pro Wrestling Gorilla out there. Any chance you might be doing something with him? Have y'all been in touch?
No, I mean, you're good friends with him?
Look now, I really like that now.
I was gonna say pass my info along. If the paper's right, Shad and I will go over and do a show for him.
How about Lucha Underground? Have anybody reached out to you?
Chad and I went to a show. I like the show. It's right down the street from me. It's 20 minutes away, and if the money's right, I'll do it because it's right down the street. But right now, I'm not really focused on wrestling. Right now, I'm worried about branding JTG outside of wrestling. Yeah, that's what it takes with Cryme Tyme, branding ourselves outside of wrestling. I want to stick to wrestling. I love wrestling, but I'm not in love with it right now.
Just giving yourself a little breather right now. One thing I like about you, and correct me if I'm wrong, but the one thing I like about you is the fact that when you were released by the WWE, you didn't do like some of these other people did, which is, and sometimes it's a little bad to do it, I think, which is you get released, you make your rounds doing the shoot interviews with RF Video, High Spots and all that, and you just go on basically a burial promotional tour if you will, and sometimes, I don't know, for me, to each its own, but for me, I just kind of look at that and I say, that's not really smart. Just marinate on everything. That's my catchphrase, marinate on everything that just happened and let it sink in, and then pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and then move forward. And, I respect you a great ton, because you didn't do that. I don't know. It's none of my business. It's none of our listeners' business, but if you want to disclose the information, you're more than welcome to. But, I love the fact that you didn't do this, and you probably had the opportunities presented to you to do it. And who knows, you either decided the timing wasn't right, or maybe you just shot it down, or...
I'm not a big fan of shoot videos. It comes across bitter, it comes across mad, and that's the last thing that I am, is bitter or mad. I'm thankful for every experience that I had in the WWE. I had a great career. I don't care if you look, what do you mean you had a great career? You was a jobber. I lived out a childhood dream. I met a majority of my idols. I traveled around the world. I met my wife through wrestling, on the road. I don't regret nothing, and I'm able to write about it now, and people are entertained by it.
Right. And we should stress, we should stress that the way you wrote about it, to follow up on what I said earlier, it's not in a bashing tour type of way. It's just a very fresh, good narrative of just what all you had experienced. And if anything, the biggest takeaway that I was able to get from this book, that I think a lot of people will be able to take away from this, is the fact that no matter how many times you keep getting punched in the gut, if you will, you keep coming across these weird circumstances where you're like, man, I'm trying to do everything right, but it seems like I got this black cloud that just continues to follow over me. In the end, you persevered.
Oh yeah, I made out like a bandit. If you ask me, I usually when you retire from wrestling, well, I didn't retire officially from wrestling, but usually when you leave the business, you're going through some injuries, surgeries. You're mentally messed up because you're performing at indie shows and the crowd is not the same. That affects certain wrestlers. They go to different indie shows and they're just walking around frowning and sad when you get an autograph. It's like, that's not me. I'm making the best out of the situation. I love exactly where my destination is going. I wouldn't change nothing. I'm having fun right now. I'm loving life.
Awesome. This literally just came in, and I almost forgot about this question. Retro Kaiser, he wants to know if by chance you'll be doing any type of appearances in Australia, because he personally would love to see you come down under, mate.
No, I haven't gotten the opportunity yet, but I would love to go to Australia. Tell them to send me them numbers, and we could talk. We could negotiate.
I will see what I can do. Like I said, Joey Ryan, he's always been a good sport. Every time we try to reach out for him to come onto the show, he's always been willing. So I'll see if maybe we can hook you two up and see if we can try to do something, man. Any final words for your listeners, your fans out there?
I just want to let them know that the audiobook is coming. I'm working for part 2. Will be out in a couple of months. Don't rush me. Creativity, great. You can't rush greatness.
Right.
Follow me on Instagram at JTG121084, on Twitter JTG1284, and I'll keep you updated with all my appearances, how the book is going, and also if you have any questions about the book or in general, I'll respond to you using this new audio application called Earsay, EARSAYE, and this app allows you to record 15-second voice clips and add sound effects, and they have over 100 sound effects, and I'm having fun answering fans' questions using this.
Interesting. It kind of reminds me of a application we got called Rumble Talk, and you can leave a message as long as you have some type of a recording device. You use your phone, your tablet, or whatever. You can have about 90 seconds, and you can leave a message. It's free, doesn't cost any. It sounds similar to that. I gotta look into that. Hey Jay, plug that book again, man.
Get your copy of Damn, Why Did I Write This Book? On all e-reader platforms. Amazon, Nook, Kobo, PayHip. Get your copy today. Cheers.
JTG, thank you so much, man.
Enjoy all episodes of the RCWR Show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Spreaker, and iHeartRadio.
Thanks for listening. An Infinity One Productions presentation, keeping it honest, insightful, and interactive.